I want to go to Mars. I wrote those words when I was 12 years old.
Mars is a planet ready for life. In 20 hours, 6 astronauts will travel to Mars, not to visit, but to live there.
Hey everyone, welcome to What the Flick. Christy, Alonzo, the space between us.
So I get that Dave Matthews song in my head whenever I see the title, The Space Between.
Thankfully, I don't know it. Don't
Something
teach
like
it to me.
Something like that. Anyway, this is not as good as that song usually. So Asa Butterfield was born on Mars. His mother was an astronaut who was the head of this mission to go and colonize Mars with the great financial backing of Gary Oldman as this sort of Richard Branson-like billionaire entrepreneur and explorer. So the mom leads this trip to Mars, but little does she know, or do any of us know, that she's pregnant. And 16 years later, that kid is played by Asa Butterfield, the wide-eyed and guileless Asa Butterfield, who naturally is curious about Earth and his father, and finagles a way down to Earth to do a little exploring of his own. But can he survive the trip? Can his body withstand the atmosphere on Earth? And more importantly, will he ever hook up with the perky high school girl he's been having an online flirtation with, played by Britt Robertson? Maybe. Take a look.
Gardner is the 16-year-old boy. He's met less than 15 people in his life.
What if no one knows I exist? I'm raised by scientists.
He knows about Earth.
Hey, Tulsa.
I'm out of here the second I turn 18.
I just wish I could go with you.
And he knows it's all happening without him.
Bring him home.
How am I supposed to act with the people?
Talking in T-minus 1 minute.
I've got so many questions about Mars.
Not as many as I have about Earth.
There's so many doors. Can I stay?
They need to do more tests.
Nothing's changed. I want to be out there.
There's been a breach!
We need teams from the airport, Amtrak station.
We can't survive.
Oy.
We had so much fun on this movie. I gotta say, we have so much fun. I mean, we're all really great friends, IRL. So it's nice to hang out with Alonzo and his husband and Matt, and we just sit in the back and we giggle.
Sometimes we need the support that only we can give each other in moments like that.
We were cackling really loud at moments that were supposed to have been kind of serious.
That was it. This is a movie that kind of went from like the occasional giggle to like at least one face palm to just flat out guffaws by the end. This movie is so ridiculous, and it loads on so like every minute there's another plot thing that happens that makes no sense at all, that undoes things that happened before, because they don't ever really get a nail for these characters. Like Asa Butterfield, we're told several times, was raised by scientists and he's supposed to be super smart, but then they make him ridiculously naive at just the most plot convenient moments. You know, like this is a guy who grew up on Mars, but he grew up watching movies. So the first time he sees a horse, he should not completely freak out about it.
Right, he freaks out.
It's worth noting, this movie is from the writer of Collateral Beauty.
I was gonna say, if this conversation rings a bell, because we're just like gobsmacked with incredulity at how ridiculous it is, it's because it comes from the mind of Alan Loeb.
Yes, our new favorite terrible screenwriter,
How does he keep
who
it
goes
warm?
big. I'll say that. He doesn't write like tiny indie movies with 3 characters. He writes idiocy on a galactic scale.
Interplanetary.
Ay,
if
ay,
you will.
ay. And
There's an
then-
exploding barn in this.
Yes.
That's the best part of the whole movie.
And then, you know, and Britt Robertson's character, it's like, we're supposed to believe that she's this tough cookie, like, yeah, I've been in foster homes and I don't trust anybody, and I'm gonna break out of here when I turn 18. It's like, you're Britt Robertson. I mean, like, there's a lot you can do as a screen actress, but you don't give tough cookie for a second.
Yeah,
you
she's
know?
kind of annoyingly feisty and perky, which is the hole they keep putting her in. She's also 26 years old. Girl, you're adorable. You're so cute. But she's too old to be playing a high school girl at this point.
Well, this and A Dog's Purpose back to back, it's a little much. I mean, look, I mean, she pulls it off. She's not. I don't think it's not like Luke Perry on 90210.
It's not Stockard Channing in Grease.
There you go. Yeah, there are worse examples. But boy, someone, please, Hollywood, give Britt Robertson a career intervention because she is too good for like this and Dog's Purpose and Mother's Day and all the other garbage that she's in. Yeah, this movie, it's irritatingly stupid. And then on top of it all, they, of course they go on a road trip because of course they go on a road trip. This is like every sort of post-ET 80s movie where a boy or an alien or a robot or a boy alien or an alien robot has to go on the run from the authorities, and they have to go on the run from the authorities, and they shoot it like a series of car commercials. Like they are always in the most photogenic area of like the Midwest or the Southwest. There's always some amazing butte behind them or fields of,
whatever. Or a pop-up hot air balloon festival.
A hot air balloon festival.
Yeah, and that moment actually is one of many examples of just like the awkward tonal shifts. Peter Chelsom directed this, who also directed Serendipity and Town and Country. And the Hannah Montana movie. But like there's these really awkward, jarring kind of tonal shifts. So there's a character who gets some really terrible news at one moment, and the next moment it's like blue skies and this joyous hot air balloon festival out of nowhere.
And the music is all either like the score is just pumping up the strings like crazy to make you feel things, or it's like a million different pop songs that all do that whoa thing.
I wrote about this for RogerEbert.com, and I described it as the Muppet Babies version of Starman. because he's magical, and he comes down to Earth to go on a road trip to the West Coast. The problem, too, is that there are a couple of vaguely interesting ethical questions that the film raises, right?
Sure.
Because the kid's a secret. The pregnancy is a secret. And so Gary Oldman and B.D. Wong, who is his right-hand man, go through these brief but albeit compelling arguments about what do we do here? Like, do we acknowledge that this baby was born there? Do we
tell the world or
not? Does it jeopardize the mission? Like, is the greater good more important? And so there's some interesting discussions here about science and truth and exploration and ambition and that, and also the movie itself, the mission itself is supposedly predicated on like climate change necessitating, colonizing other planets.
Oh, yes.
And then they sweep that under the rug. It's like, oh, climate change, look over here at something shiny.
Yeah, and the Earth looks the same. Oh, by the way, also, this is supposed to be the future.
Thank you for saying that. Okay, that's my next thing.
Yeah,
Let's go.
so we see the tombstone of dead astronaut mom, and it's 2018. So if Asa Butterfield is now 16, this is now 2034.
Yes.
Phones and tablets and cars and clothes are all the same.
Yeah, well, laptops are different.
Laptops are Lucite now, but that's it.
Cars and clothes, and there's like a jukebox at a diner, and I don't think it's intentionally retro chic. I think it's just like an inconsistency in detail that is really distracting.
Everything in this movie looks totally contemporary except the laptops. The laptops have a glow.
Like ethereal kind of lucite. So there's that, and then the thing that bothered me, I mentioned this to Matt when we were sitting together. So they make a big deal of the destination that they're heading toward in California is a little bitty beach town called Summerland, which is near Santa Barbara. But then like when shit goes down, the authorities come in from Los Angeles. I'm like, Santa Barbara County has people too. This is where my mind is going because I'm so not engaged in like the climactic,
and they're in Palm Springs with the windmills, and you're like, where are we?
They come from Vegas, but they go through Palm Springs, which they don't have to do.
No.
They can go down the 15.
That's right.
And go nowhere near the Palm Springs.
Take the 134 to the 101.
So things like that, that geographical stuff like that bothers me. You know that, but we should not be thinking about this.
No,
we should be engaged in the climax of it all.
Yeah.
All right,
when I'm watching La La Land, I don't think about like, hey, Angel's Flight is closed.
Right.
It's like,
but that movie got geography right. No,
totally.
I will give it that. So this movie is kind of terrible, but kind of in a you gotta see it way. But it's also 2 hours long. It's also all
it was
of 2
a
hours
full
long.
2 hours.
Yeah, I almost brought my kid, but then he had a cold, so he stayed home, and I'm really glad that he did not go. If you have a kid, I mean, is there anything that's inappropriate in it? There's the suggestion that they have sex.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, Carla Gugino, we should mention too.
Oh,
there are brief glimmers of like maybe some vague emotional truth here and there from Gary Oldman and Carla Gugino.
Even that storyline has some ridiculous stuff about her not being able to have children and.
Anyway, what's your number?
I give it a 2. This movie's just dumb. It's dumb and it's a
2.
waste of time.
2, but we had a good time. So our average is 2. It is at 13%. There was an embargo on reviews, but now they're starting to trickle out.
Yeah.
And so 13% is probably the best it's going to do.
I was going to say, I don't think it's
guessing.
getting any higher than that. We'll see.
Bye.